today we're going to be taking a look at this 335i E90 generation, and we're going to be discussing what makes it one of the best sports cars on the road right now for under $10,000, and you can get some examples for well under $10,000. So honestly, in my eyes, it's a steal of a deal, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what makes it such a great car, as well as going on a nice little test drive. If you like the video, I have to say, guys, I'm sorry. If you like it, hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit that subscribe button twice. Won't do anything different, but you know, it'll make me feel better. Leave down in the comment section, be like, oh, just subscribed. Hit that subscribe button twice. Love your vids. Thanks, dog. I'm gonna leave a like too. That, in a perfect world, you know, everyone would do that, but okay. So one of the first things I want to talk about when it comes to why this vehicle is so special is the fact that it ages like fine wine. Honestly, this is a 10-year-old, 11-year-old vehicle now. It's a 2007 335, and it still looks remarkably well. It does not look very old on the road. If you compare that to Audis and Mercedes, you know, 2007 era, 2006 era, they look a lot older than this. Just like the E46. The E46 generation, especially the M3s, just aged incredibly well as well. It doesn't look like, you know, such an old car, and this is, you know, shaping up to be the same. So I really appreciate that, and it held up not too bad. This car has definitely been through the ringer. It was bought in an auction for $3,000, and so well under 10K, and there's some oxidation on the paint and blemishes everywhere, but honestly, cleaning it up, it still holds up pretty well and looks reasonably nice. You know, it has the sports car look, and it has kind of like a business-esque look as well. It's very classy looking, but still at the same time upholding that sports car look. So by far the most important component that sets this car apart from all the rest and shapes it up to be such a fantastic sports car lies right under the hood, and that is this N54 engine, which puts out in stock format 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Now, this engine is highly modifiable thanks to being twin turbocharged and having forged components. So what all that means is that you're able to highly modify this vehicle into making a substantial amount of horsepower. You can make over 700 horsepower on these engines, which is absolutely incredible, and these twin turbos will support 500 horsepower, just this base stock twin turbo setup that it comes with. So it is just amazing the value you can get once you start tuning these out of the engine. This N54 engine, you can get so much power out of it for relatively cheap, because all you need to do is throw a piggyback tune in and you're already getting 80 more horsepower and 80 more pound-feet of torque, and you can get piggyback tunes for under 500 bucks for this vehicle. So it's literally just such a great deal, and this is a gem of an engine. You'll get to see a little bit more of it as we take this vehicle for a test drive, but it is silky smooth, the power is always there, and it just always puts a smile on your face. Okay guys, so taking a quick look at the interior on the E90, and while I said before that this car has been through the fucking ringer, you can see that kind of on the interior as well. It wasn't treated very well, whoever owned this car before, but you know what? Everything still looks pretty modern in here. Besides the navigation screen or the infotainment screen, that thing looks like a straight dinosaur. Everything else looking still good. I'm still impressed with the quality. The leather is nice. It actually feels a little bit better than some of the leather that BMW puts in like their 2 Series and everything. So the leather quality is nice. There is a little bit more plastics than the newer generation's 3 Series, which is definitely not surprising. And the plastics in general are the cheap, they're like cheap plastics. They're like fading everywhere, bad scratches on them, they're discolored. So definitely the Achilles heel of the interior on the E90 is the damn cheap plastics, but other than that, the interior has held up pretty well. Okay, so very briefly, there's a couple highlights of the interior that I want to just go over, and first off, that is this 3-spoke steering wheel. It's leather wrapped, just perfect proportions on it. The size is absolutely phenomenal, and it's just comfortable in any position. If you want to hold it gangster style, comfortable. If you want to hold it like you're on a racetrack, comfortable. If you want to hold it like some grandma or some weird it's comfortable. It's just comfortable steering wheel. It's aging well. The leather is aging well, at least. However, some of this plastic trim around the steering wheel itself, in the middle of it, not aging that well. But again, for the third time, it's the last time I'll say it, this car's been through the fucking ringer. So in other 335 E90 models or E92 models, it looks a hell of a lot better than this plastic. Another thing I want to mention is these fantastic cup holders. They're actually built into the dash itself, and you just press on them and they slide out. So very cool, and honestly, I wish they carried it over into the F30 generation and now the G20 generation of the 3 Series, because it saves space in the center console and it just looks really cool. Honestly, I think all kinds of car manufacturers should do it, because some people never even bring drinks in the car in the first place. So you know what, they don't have to, you know, be compromised by a bunch of cup holders everywhere. They can just have that tucked away right in the dash, and yeah, very convenient, very nifty. And some people say it can be a gimmick. Well, I say shit is not a gimmick. In the name of great sports cars, few are very practical. However, the 335 E90 generation happens to be actually pretty dang practical. So I'm sitting behind myself. This is how I would have the seat, the driver's seat, if I was driving, obviously, and I still have a solid 3 to 4 inches of leg room, as well as maybe like 2 inches of headroom. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", 5'11" on a good day, I hope, and 5'10" on an off day. I don't even know. So getting this 335 on the back road, my claim to say that this is one of the best sports cars for $10,000, well, this is obviously where that claim really comes alive, especially on these back roads right now. And the car is just so fluent. It just feels like it has a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. And thanks to this M Sport suspension, there's a very minimal body roll. Now, one of the biggest reasons that makes this such a just absolutely fantastic driver's car is the communication you get from the wheels through the steering. This is a hydraulic steering rack, and it is just beautifully done. I get so much feedback as to what the wheels are doing through this steering. It's incredible. What is that? Low on gas. Of course we are. Of course we are. This hydraulic steering is sublime, and BMWs have stopped putting hydraulic steering in their vehicles, just like every other car manufacturer. Very unfortunate, as while electric steering in BMWs and Porsche are very fantastic, my M235, for example, it's very, very precise. As soon as I turn the steering wheel, the car turns, and instantaneously too, so it's even a little bit faster than this hydraulic steering. However, you miss out on so much road fill that you get with hydraulic steering, and in BMW specifically, they've always had some of the best steering in this hydraulic setup, and this 335 E90 generation is definitely no exception whatsoever. Okay, now driving a bit mundane, and you really get to appreciate just overall the comfortability of this vehicle. While it is still a sports car, it is also a practical daily driver, a commuter car, if you will. Something that you can go to work in every single day. You get really the best of both worlds in this. And when it comes to wind noise and tire noise, I want to say that there is definitely a bit of tire noise, definitely a bit of wind noise, but it's nothing dramatic. Let's give it a little bit of throttle here, and yeah, it pulls very nicely. Surprising for, you know, as cars get into age, and you start getting over 100,000 miles on the motor, and this one has 112,000, the power starts to subside a little bit, and this car still feels very, very powerful thanks to those twin turbochargers that it has. Definitely feels like a car around 0 to 60 in probably around like 5 seconds flat at this point, maybe like 4.9. But just very, very quick, and the power is consistent and it's smooth. So it shifts through the gears effortlessly, and the power is pretty much always there. Okay guys, to summarize what makes this vehicle so great and definitely one of the best sports cars for under $10,000 is for honestly a variety of reasons, but most importantly it is the driving dynamics. It's the sweetheart of an engine and its ability to make so much power if you want to tune it, and its ability just to make power from a stock format. 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque is no slouch, and the power band is excellent with this vehicle. So such a great platform to work on. And then, you know, we can take a look at the handling, and it's basically 50-50 weight distribution, or what definitely feels like 50-50 weight distribution. Just very, very nice. And then the hydraulic steering just adds to that so much. It gives the driver a sense of involvement that you don't get from electric steering. Definitely, if you can, get one of these 335s in a manual transmission, because you'll just get so much driver feedback from the manual transmission and from the hydraulic steering. Now, another reason that makes this 335 one of the best sports cars that you can get for under $10,000 is the fact that it is so practical. You can still fit 5 people relatively comfortable in this interior. There's still room in the trunk for anything you would need, whether it be a bunch of golf bags or snowboards, whatever it is. The trunk has room for it. You're never like feeling claustrophobic in the interior. Even if you're above 6 foot, you can fit comfortably, especially in the front of the car, and even in the back there's still enough room for people who are 6 foot. So it's just a very great size vehicle while still not being too big, so when you do get onto the canyon roads, it doesn't feel like just a freaking behemoth. Now, the last thing I want to say before I wrap this video up entirely is the question of reliability. And with the N54 engine, these engines are definitely reliable. However, there are some things that do go bad, specifically turbos. The turbos can go out on these vehicles when it reaches 100,000 miles. That's a common issue. And certain other things like starters can go bad, and just, you know, the injectors can go bad after 100,000 miles. But other than that, the N54 has proved to be a very reliable platform, and a very reliable platform for tuning as well. If you're in the market for a sports car and a daily driver for under $10,000, this should certainly be on your list, and it should be high on your list. If you find a great example of one of these for the right price, I would definitely suggest go ahead and buying it, because this car has so much to offer and it's such a great platform to modify. Alright guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the video and perhaps learned something new. I post a video once every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a like. And as always guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.